open meeting for the MSCC community. We're delighted that you're able to join us. We have a lot to cover today, and pretty soon you're going to see some slides. And I'm going to hand it off to an esteemed colleague, Dr. Urban Wiggins, who is going to kick us off, and then we will go from there. So again, welcome to the MSCC All Hands meeting today. Please mute your mics if you don't mind, and we love to see your face if you want to show your face today. Please use the chat window if you have any questions along the way. We certainly want to leave time for a Q&A. So if you think of any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat window, and we will get to them as soon as we can. All right, so Dr. Wiggins.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much. Greetings, everyone. On behalf of the administrative unit of MSCC, I greet you. I welcome you. We look forward to having a very interesting and informative session today. And this will mark our very beginning. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking our time to be a part of our introductory meeting for the year 2023. So as we begin, the agenda for today is we're going to deal with the new MSCC governance and who are the new officers, the MSCC in review. We have MSCC, our annual meeting that we will be holding this year, and a preview of the 2023 activities. And then we'll try and make sure that we have time for any questions that you may have, and allow you an opportunity to speak at that point in time. Okay, so as we move forward, MSCC, Minority Serving Cyber Infrastructure Consortium. This consortium is encompassed with HBCUs, tribal colleges and universities, and MSIs. We also have different additional affiliations from different universities, including Dr. Richard Allo from Florida A&M, Al Anderson, Jim Bottoms, Joey Brin, Dr. Ming Chu, Bobby Clark, Damian Clark, Deborah Dent, Tom Jackson, Leah Krause, Kyle Nash, Adebisi. Oh, please, I apologize, Dr. Adebisi. I'm gonna just use your first names because we've already established that I don't want to mess up your last name. And then I am here at the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. All right. You can move. All right. MSCC governance, major focus area for CLC. We updated our charter around December 2022. The purpose, bless you. The purpose is we enabled innovation in new and diverse teaching and learning environments, guided values, openness, stakeholder value, strategic plan. Here, the definitions for voting MSIs, non-voting affiliated members, time period for institutions to be listed as founding members, and we looked at the structure, the CLC structure and operations, establishing the chair, vice chair, standing committees, standing committee members, which is the membership, nominating committee, and we have our secretary as well. And the charter is to be understood as a living document. We understand that we're not as bright as our forefathers with their charter, so we're going to take that little lead from them and move forward. We can go forward now. Here, our CLC officers. I am Dr. Urban Wiggins. I'm also the Vice Provost for Decision Science and Visualization, and currently the interim CIO at University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. I serve as the chair. My vice chair is Dr. Deborah Dent. She is the Chief Information Officer for Jackson State University. Secretary is Ms. Leah Krause. She is the Chief Information Officer of North Carolina Central University. With our membership and with our committee chairs, Co-chairs for the membership and nominating committee, we have Mr. Bobby Clark. He is CCIT Director, Procurement and Vendor Management at Clemson University, and Mr. Tom Jackson, Vice Chancellor for Information Technology Services and CIO at North Carolina A&T. You can move forward. Here are the activities for 2022. We were very busy in 2022, so I won't necessarily go through all of the things that we've done, but we've done several presentations and had several meetings with the National Science Foundation. We presented at different events with HP, HBCU presidents, convening committees, and we had quite a few events where we met on different university campuses, namely North Carolina A&T, Salish Kutienal College, and I said I was going to try and pronounce it, but I tried anyway. And then at Jackson State. Move forward. Now, of our workshop results, we had a workshop at North Carolina A&T, and at this workshop, we had 28 HBCU campuses that were involved. 11 HBCU campuses were registered, 51 registrants represented 24 different organizations. The different campuses attended. We had and I'll keep on mispronouncing, so please bear with me, Salish Kutienal College. We had a workshop there. 12 TCU campuses registered, 60 total registrants were represented, and we had 46 total attendees representing 14 different organizations. Move on. Should be the next one would be at Jackson State. Okay, Jackson State. We had a meeting there, 10 HBCUs, 40 registrants, 48 total attendees. And this is just the second, this marks the 3 of the workshops that we've held at institutions, and we're looking forward to holding additional MSCC workshops in the future for 2023. And we currently have a few already slated to on our schedule for 2023 and open for additional. All right. Staffing and resources. We were fortunate to hire our inaugural program director, and this was Mr. Lawrence Williams. Mr. Lawrence Williams served as the inaugural director. We were working, everything was moving forward, and we fortunately and unfortunately, depending on what side of the fence you're on, we lost him to the United States Army Reserve Unit. He was promoted, and as such, he felt that he could not serve both positions adequately. And so unfortunately, we lost Lawrence to the military. So we bid him a farewell and thank him very much for his service to our country and his service to MSCC. We have Ms. Tenney. Oh man, I said I was going to not mispronounce it, and I still was going to do it. Agabasawan. We have Ms. Tenney. We have serving as our program coordinator. Tenney, please don't come and get me. We have additional support from Internet 2, Ms. Anna Hunzinger, Ms. Lanika Starks, Sally Alley, Emily Nichols, and we have some other individuals who have been working with us from Internet 2. And please forgive me when I mispronounce your names. You know, I'm in front of everybody. It's a bit scary. We're going to talk into that, okay? We move from the staffing. Now let's talk about our change agents, some of the things that we've been working with. Advancing strategies and programs to support HBCUs, TCUs, HSIs, and other MSIs, vital to our community and our nation. And these photos represent 3 of the events that we covered with North Carolina A&T, Salish College, Jackson State University. We also had the Technology Exchange, and we also, when we met in Washington, D.C., you have standing in the upper right corner during HBCU week with the White House, you have standing actually in purple, that's Dr. President of Dillard University. Move forward, please. Now, we're focusing on growth as well as moving MSCC forward with its initiatives. And one of the things that we really are pushing is that we've had a convening thought process from our very inception. And that is, we can do more together than what we can do individually. And in that spirit, we're looking to increase the number of partners that we have, increase the number of engagements that we have. And this has been our participants and institutional growth. So if you take a look, how many we've joined, when they joined, you've seen a pretty good growth. And then we have monthly all hands meeting. And these all hands meetings have been designed to bring everyone together, allow everyone to understand how we're moving forward, and then how we can enjoy working together, as well as what can be done next. So, and as things stand, we have MSCC coalescing with our HBCUs, TCUs, HSIs, and our other entities. We have 54 HBCUs that are members of MSCC right now. We have 7 TCUs, 17 HSIs. We have additional higher education organization, universities that have partnered with us. And we have additional entities that are supporting MSCC. And I want to make sure we do a special note that Internet 2 is an organization that has a unique relationship with MSCC, and we have a partnership with the Internet 2 as in the form of an MOU. Moving forward. And this partnership with Internet 2 is pretty much one of our biggest strengths and has allowed us to move forward. And to speak regarding Internet 2, I'd like to bring Ms. Anna to the stage, and I'll let you take over from here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wiggins, and thank you all for being here again. So appreciate it. I just want to spend a few minutes kind of setting the context also from the Internet 2 perspective, but also how excited we are about this collaboration. Just for background for those of you that are new to the call today, let me give you just a little bit of history. In early 2020, there was a group of chief information officers from historically Black colleges and universities that approached Internet 2 about their vision and an emerging collaboration called the MSCC. It's important that I note that these leaders had been meeting since early 2018, getting together between trusted peers to discuss issues and challenges confronted by their campuses. It is from those meetings that the MSCC started. As many of you know, historically, Internet 2 has largely focused on supporting research-intensive institutions. It is worth noting that as these group approached me and others at Internet 2, an uncomfortable yet undeniable reality of how little Internet 2 had done to directly engage and understand the gaps between their campus networks and both the national and global R&E ecosystem. That undeniable reality was certainly front and center. Myself, along with the leadership from Internet 2, went and continued to be on a very long and humbling journey. For me, what started back then is still a realization of how much I and many others still have to learn and to do. Internet 2 operates infrastructure that advances research and education. We are conveners, and we also operate networks. We manage services, and we have seen firsthand that incredible things can happen if you enable networks, data, compute, storage, clouds, identity and access, people, what we call cyber infrastructure. Today, so much of what we do across the, our community and higher education is increasingly dependent on these things, on cyber infrastructure to advance science, to advance the mission of our universities and the grand challenges that are confronting our society and, quite frankly, our planet. We know that CEI can enable faculty and students to collaborate and to contribute to research. But a sad reality is that while we know all this, there are many, in fact, thousands, millions perhaps in our higher ed ecosystem that are excluded from the conversations or that can relate to this. So CI is what, and what does it do? And, so what does it mean to those voices that have been marginalized or underrepresented or at times excluded? And what do we do to make them take center stage and start and steer conversations based on their needs? So this is where the MSCC is front and center. Beyond the opportunity to get people together, Internet 2 conveyed to the MSCC a commitment that I believe and many others is inherent in Internet 2's mission, and that is the improvement of cyber infrastructure capabilities for the MSCC. There's still a very long journey ahead of us, one where I would say I'm very honored, humble, and excited about the role that I and that we get to play. In this slide, I want to call out, it's very difficult to read a letter that was shared with the MSCC leadership in April of 2021. But I do want to just, since we have a little bit of time, just read out loud a couple of things too, that Internet 2, putting things in writing perhaps are symbolic, but they really set the stage. And again, we have a long journey ahead of us, but I want to read out loud a couple of things because I think that these are important. So if you want a copy of the letter, please let me know, and then you can read the entire thing. But one of the things that Internet 2 leadership expressed in this letter was that we would strive to follow these principles to guide our relationship with the MSCC. Collaboration, achieving together what could not be done independently, mentorship, to advise on topics and areas that Internet 2 has relevant and significant experience, agility, to make continuous adjustments based on the ongoing needs of the MSCC, transparency, encourage effective, clear, and honest communication between the MSCC and Internet 2, intentionality, be purposeful in recommendations and decision-making with MSCC goals as the basis for anything that we may do together and in support of the MSCC, maximizing resources, ensuring resources made available to the MSCC from Internet 2 or other entities are utilized effectively with full input from consortium members and or the consortium leadership. And last but not least, accountability, frequent assessments of what is working well and improvements needed to ensure the collaboration aligns with the goals of the MSCC. So thank you for letting me read these things out loud. But again, I wanted to share this with all of you because this is what continues to drive this intentionality, our work with the MSCC. Next slide, please. So through this, also, I want to share, it is why, this intentionality too, and what was expressed, it's also why MSCC with support from Internet 2 proposed a bold approach to the National Science Foundation in spring of 2021. Let's go to the next slide, please. Awarded in September of 2021, MSCC, in partnership with Internet 2, received funds towards a Center of Excellence demonstration pilot, which over the course of the 2-year grant period aims to increase access to cyber infrastructure resources to empower researchers at MSCC campuses in their use of cyber infrastructure. This slide covers some of the key pieces around the pilot Center of Excellence. Some key components include awareness, outreach, community building, and communication through the MSCC as a more robust effort. The activities referenced for 22 that Dr. Wiggins covered were mostly a result of this NSF award. Well, this past year has been really great with the work with MSCC, as we have continued our discussions and spending time also with the campuses, we are learning that there continue to be several shared challenges encountered by the MSCC campuses. For example, as a result of limited resources, expertise, and other things, there are pervasive barriers to entry into the national CI ecosystem by many of the MSCC campuses. And perhaps also that may affect the potential for grant funding too. So many campuses are limited in the types of and scalability of research that can be supported, also affecting their engagement across different institutions, but also within the institution and the ability to also collaborate. While also access to resources and opportunities is essential, and the ability to use and execute these resources and opportunities is also equally important. Almost every MSCC institution wants and needs access to shared resources, and there's a really strong desire to also have best practices, tools, and assessments that are based on their needs. So I want to emphasize that their needs, not ours, their needs. Even with more funding and information that could be guided by data, by surveys we've done, each campus may still have very different needs and new challenges in supporting the campus infrastructure, particularly when dealing with competing campus priorities. In most cases, campuses, again, may have limited resources and staffing needed to implement, maintain, troubleshoot, just to keep the lights on support of the campus operations. So this present reality is going to continue to affect the time and commitment of many HBCUs and TCU staffing resources that may be dedicated to addressing even what the MSCC or others in partnership with the MSCC may recommend or do. We make many assumptions, and we need to kind of rethink these things too. Assumptions could include, for example, thinking that a campus may have done the work or even it doesn't mean that they don't want to do it. It's just that with limited resources, identifying those research and education drivers that then could require the use of computational and other CI resources. It's a desire, but it's harder said than done as well. So with this context, next slide, please. Less than 1 year from being awarded the COE demonstration pilot, again, MSCC with expanded support from Internet2, we did another bold proposal to NSF. This was funded in late fall of last year, and this new award, you see some details here. It's fair for me to say that the National Science Foundation is intrigued yet very committed to seeing if we can significantly increase and accelerate the CI-enabled research and education capacity at MSCC campuses by testing and learning from new approaches towards what we hope could be a repeatable, successful model for CI implementation on MSI campuses. So this expanded and longer-term funding will enable us to take a more directed approach in working with a few. I wish it was more, but we'll start with a few to see how we can then grow from there. But with a few HBCUs and TCUs, and then have through this efforts, the ability to provide campus-specific assessments that can then drive IT strategic plans focused on supporting research for the faculty and students. All of this is with intentionality. And what we want is so that each of the campuses that we work with will have dedicated access to expertise and resources, resulting in a plan that supports that campus's needs. Under this other award, also, the MSCC can continue to expand its capabilities, and where we hope that beyond the proof of concept grant program, there will be additional support for more institutions through the MSCC also as it continues to grow and mature. Next slide, please. This slide, again, there's a lot here, but it just covers some of the things that are very important, also in terms of broader impacts. I just want to say that I am super thankful, and I think my colleagues from the MSCC too, that for the support that NSF is investing in this effort. Certainly viewing the MSCC as a change agent capable of advancing strategies and programs that can advance the important research and education work of HBCUs, TCUs, and other MSIs. In closing, and thank you for letting me share all these thoughts with you, I just want to state that the expertise, ideas, and perspectives from the MSCC schools need to be more fully brought to bear on the scientific and societal challenges that are confronting our country. For so many years, our colleagues at these institutions have been responsible for nurturing their students, supporting their faculty, and uplifting their communities. So all of us here today know how important it is to get students and faculty access to tools and resources so that students and faculty can also pursue their research aspirations. So that is the drive for the MSCC, and represented Internet too. It is through our collaboration with them that we hope our collective efforts can bridge these divides so that we can ensure the equal participation of these institutions within the US and global research and education community. So thank you very much. I'm going to hand it off now back to Dr. Wiggins to share some other exciting news, and we'll go from there. Thank you. And Dr. Wiggins, next slide, please.
All right, thank you, Anna. Just in closing, one of the things that we really want to think about for ourselves is this is something, the funding, the grants that we procured were all done through MSCC. And that's a pretty large amount of money that's being dedicated to MSCC's movement and production. Next slide, did it freeze? Okay, great. Okay, so mark your calendar, save the date. May 10th through 11th, 2023, our inaugural MSCC annual meeting will be held in Atlanta, Georgia. We're launching a new Cyber Infrastructure 101 webinar series to encourage, educate, and empower the community participants with tools and resources to impact your campus's IT infrastructure. Looking to kick off a cyber infrastructure webinar on February 17th of 2023 from 1 to 2. That's the next save the date, where we will be doing what is a cyber infrastructure? What is a CI plan? How a CI plan supports campus research? Why, what, and starting a plan. I will tell you up front, one of the things that you may want to consider when you're thinking about the CI plan and why you need it, NSF has the NSF CC STAR grant. And one of the major components of the CC STAR grant is for you to submit your CI plan. So if you want to apply for your campus cyber infrastructure grant that's through the National Science Foundation, this is one of the components that is a mandatory component of said plan. The webinar series is free, but we're asking everyone to register for this event so we can make sure that we know what's going on. We know all the participants, and we can address any questions and answer things during that session. Okay. All right. Activities, MSCC COE demonstration pilot. Oh. And in this demonstration pilot, we're talking about our outreach and workshops. So this is our schedule, our tentative schedule right now for 2023, January 31st, NSF Cyber Infrastructure Workshop. This is referencing the CC STAR grant. This is at Navajo Technical University. We have another event, three events in February, March, April, May. So we have everything culminating until May that we have on schedule, where we meet with our inaugural MSCC annual meeting. This information will be passed on to you, so you don't have to do a snapshot of your screen. I know many people do it, but nonetheless, it'll be made available to everyone. So you'll be able to keep up with the dates, and we'll keep everyone informed. And we talk about our CI and STEM mentoring and internship program. That is to be handled further along. And then we have our staffing monthly consortium to discuss. So let's get to the crust of staffing. MSCC is hiring. As I spoke earlier, we lost our program director to the United States military. So we have our MSCC program director position. We are looking for a cyber infrastructure engineer. And then we have a POCG, our POCG project manager position that is open. So we're looking to fill these positions by the end of the second quarter, have someone on board. Now, these are positions we're looking to fill that we're really seeking. So we're asking that you take a look at the links that were placed in the chat. Thank you, Emily. They were placed in the chat. And if you share it, if you think you're interested or you have someone else you share with, we're asking that you do share. We're in the final stages of doing some other hires for our Assistant Director of Cyber Infrastructure Facilitation and Cyber Infrastructure Facilitator. So we're in the process of hiring. Okay, next being sent out right now is we're looking to do a pulse survey. The 2023 MSCC survey is being finalized. We're asking that you take the time, let us know what you think. We're asking what's important to your campus and to your community. So we're asking that for many positions. We want to make sure that when we come together and we provide these offerings, we're having discussions on things that are pertinent to as many people as possible to address many of the issues. And the one way for us to know what your issues are is for you to communicate to us. All we're asking is for you to complete the survey as soon as we start distributing them and get them back to us as soon as possible. That's the crust of it. We won't know unless you communicate with us. All right. Now, MSCC, our site, www.ms-cc.org. This is our website, our web location. We are the Minority Serving Cyber Infrastructure Consortium. And with that being said, we're open for questions. Thoughts, questions, concerns?
So I'll put a plug in. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw somebody else come off mic.
Yeah, you can go first and then I'll come in.
I was just going to put another plug in for the CI workshop series. There has been a bit of work going into that, and I'll let you know I'm one of those CIOs who was afraid of a CI plan. I was like, another IT security plan. And so one of the things that we'll do in this series is demystify and simplify the development of that. And it is a series, and we are starting with the basics. So please, if you can't attend, but you have someone on the research side or the infrastructure side that you think might benefit from that, then please do make sure that you took notes on that. And we welcome you. Those will be recorded as well, so you can view them if you can't attend in person. So thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Hello, my name is Agbili Amiko. I am at the National Center for Atmospheric Research in the Computational Information Systems Lab, or the Supercomputing Group. I'm also the DEI facilitator on the Access cyber infrastructure. So Access is basically the predecessor to Exceed. If anyone is familiar with that, is the National Science Foundation cyber infrastructure program And as DEI facilitator, our goal is to really work more closely with HBCUs, TCUs, MSIs to connect with your cyber infrastructure plans. So I'm really excited about what MSCC is doing with respect to developing out cyber infrastructure plans within campuses, and would be interested in trying to figure out how Access can collaborate with your various different campuses. Also, NCAR has a number of opportunities. One of the things that I myself and our group is working on is how can we more closely work with HBCU and TCU campuses, particularly not only just with internships, but also with building capacity on some of the computing related NSF grants and proposals. So we're actually jointly supporting some HBCUs, one in the Cultural Transformation and Geosciences grant, and then there's another ACSS NSF proposal that we're also working with a few HBCUs and TCUs on. So I just wanted to introduce myself and say hi, and hopefully if anyone's interested, drop me a line and I will put my email in the chat. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. I am the UMES campus champion. So I'm going to carry over from Exceed into Access. Okay, now I normally tell my students this.
I have a quick question.
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
So good afternoon on the Eastern time zone. My name is Philip Wallace. I'm Director of Knowledge Management at United Negro College Fund. I'm with the Institute for Capacity Building. I have a question, so I'm not going to go too deep into what I'm doing because I don't want to detract from that. But I honestly wanted, if you could describe a bit more about I'm new to everything here. This is first meeting, so I'm lacking on context. So I saw the slide for the MSCC, the COE demonstration pilot. What exactly is that? Could you explain what that is a bit more?
Sure. I can take that if that's okay. Hi, Philip. Good to see you.
Likewise, good seeing you again.
Yes. So first, some semantics. So Pilot Center of Excellence is a common term that the National Science Foundation will use, both in the mechanism by which they fund certain things. Pilot means it's not a full-fledged center of excellence, but an opportunity to then start advancing a set of activities. Okay. And do you need me to pull back up the slide so we can reference things? Does that clarify?
Well, no, I knew what a center of excellence was, and I get the semantic part, but I mean, like, it's a center of excellence for, like, what is it? What's the scope going to be? And what are some of the, if that makes sense, what are some of the activities? What's the scope of what the center is going to be focusing on?
Okay. First of all, what we, in that, we're to amplify resources to then have MSCC have its own, more dedicated resources from staffing and to grow this effort from just a group meeting from time to time to now a more robust effort. So that's one component. Okay. By the way, if any of my colleagues from the MSCC leadership want to chime in, please do as well. I think, I'll just go real quick over the key objectives. So one is, the moving to have like a centralized place, right? Where then these institutions come together for expertise, experience sharing, and advocacy. The other component is to enhance the awareness, availability, and things that relate to cyber infrastructure for also, the development for faculty, staff, and students at these schools and their use of IT for research, okay? Another component was to, enhance the communication between those that may need that CI to do the research, but also the leadership at their institutions, and then recognizing also the role of the IT organization in supporting that. Okay. And then last but not least, I think generally speaking, another component of that was the just general increasing the awareness that there are resources out there in the community, in the broader ecosystem, and make them be more aware and open the opportunities for these to bridge into the schools that come together through the MSCC. Does that help?
Bobby,
Bobby,
Yes,
I see your
yes,
hand.
that's helpful, as well as the links that Lauren was sharing in the chat. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over somebody.
No, I wanted to kind of give you the essence of where it came from, and you may be noticing why is Clemson involved in this. And I want to give you just a quick idea because I think it answers your question. We did an initial CC Star grant some time ago. That what we found was that the gap between institutions like HBCUs and TCUs and formerly was that they were the awareness and the trusted community wasn't there for them to take the next couple of steps to propose and achieve grants from National Science Foundation and others. And so that was so successful. We had 6 schools that started off with that, and 4 of them achieved grants, that we wanted to expand that. So the initial grant really was about taking that success and expanding it to the greater community. So the grant has a lot more detail into it, but just to boil it down in essence, what we found is that trusted community had to be cultured and nurtured in order for people to have the kind of expertise and awareness to achieve the grants and get some of the money that was sitting out there unused for HBCUs and other institutions to use. And so we have taken that kind of idea, the idea that we could do things together, we can do a part, and expand it to a role that has more formalized programming. So most of the programming you see initially was with that first grant, and it's expanded over a next grant that we have to do more explicit things, more proof of concept kinds of items. So
The
all
only
of
thing,
talked
yeah,
about, it has stuff on there as well. And I
the only
think
thing I would add to that, Bobby, is from a national perspective, this is the federal government through NSF saying that ad hoc programs like the Cyber Team Award that Bobby mentions that Clemson got with a number of partners, this is a much more long-term approach to upgrading the infrastructure and capabilities to include people at minority serving institutions. So NSF took a step back and said, we need a long-term approach to this. And Internet 2 was the right partner to convene and facilitate. So there's a long-term effort here. And lots and lots of activities, but there is a long-term strategy on the part of the feds.
Okay, and also as a byproduct of this demonstration pilot, we've been able to take this on the road. So we've had several workshops already. As you can see, there's a lot that are scheduled. But last year we had several workshops. For example, there was a workshop held at Jackson State University, and we were able to invite other HBCUs, and we even had a TCU represented, and we were able to invite them from a 3-hour radius. So we were able to bring in all of these other HBCUs to our campus. Plus, we were able to expose our campus researchers, some of our administrators, and able to talk to them. Sometimes we all have a hard time explaining to our administrators what is CI. So we were able to bring a whole team of people from Internet 2 and other MSCCs on board, and were able to share this information and get them to really understand more information about the MSCC. And to the point now that my president thinks he's a CI president.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Okay, are there any other questions? I'm looking at the time and I want to make sure we do respect everyone in their time. So if there are no questions.
Can I make one last pitch for our CI course, because I think it's really
Please.
helpful. So Leah and I and others have been coming up with this course because we have all experienced the idea that when you were first introduced to CI as cyber infrastructure, it took a while to kind of get what it was. There's a lot of words that have been used for it, like broadband and lots of other kinds of descriptors. What CI is talking about is all of that, including the people, including the support. If you ever think you have an idea what CI is and you want something that maybe to explain it a little bit better, or maybe you want your other colleagues to understand what you're talking about, then please reference them to come to our course and maybe have and hear this demystifying session that we're going to have, because I think it'll help a lot of people understand what we're trying to do and what the community we're trying to build. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
And by your course, you mean the one on February 17th?
I'm the one on February 17th.
Okay, thank you.
It starts then, and it'll be a series where after that first kind of tasting of some topics, we'll have some other deep dives in subsequent sessions of that series.
Thank you, Laura.
If it's okay, I'll make a brief additional comment. My name is Joel Kutcher-Gershenfeld, and I'm a person who's helping to facilitate the work of MSCC, including what we call the stakeholder alignment work. But what I want to emphasize here is that if MSCC is successful, as we're all committed to it being, is it has the potential to do what I call a leapfrog compared to the PW institutions. There are issues that are of importance to your respective communities, whether it's water quality or community policing or severe weather impacts or whatever the issue is, bridging the digital divide, that MSC can provide the infrastructure, computing and data resources to help folks on your campuses, students, faculty, and staff, pursue those issues. And you have the potential with the enabling infrastructure to do research that others are not doing. And that lets you leapfrog and be a thought leader on issues that are important to the community. And so at the end of the day, this, yes, is about your having the infrastructure in place and having the capability and skills on staff, but it's also about utilizing it to make a difference in the world.
All right, well said, Joe. Well said. Thank you.
Just want to check how long is the workshop? An hour long? I know it starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time. How long is it? An hour? Thank you.
Emily, could you put the slide back up again? Page slide, what, 19, 15, 19 with for the CI 101 workshop?
We've posted the link in the chat too a couple of times, Dr.
Okay.
Wiggins.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I may be able to return some of your time then. If there are no other questions, concerns. All right, well, thank you very much for your time today. I return you 10 minutes of your time to your day. And I know everyone is really, really busy with all the other things that you're doing. And welcome to MSCC 2023. And please, 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 if you can, please attend, participate, ask the questions. I can tell you now, I'm not afraid of a question. I may not have an answer, but I'm pretty sure with all these other big brains around me, we can help you find an answer or move forward until we keep moving forward until we do find an answer. With that being said, we're asking that if you can join, please pass it on to someone else. We don't mind you bringing other members of your team to the invites and joining MSCC. Thank you very much. And if there are no more questions, have a good day.